everyone, and good Wednesday evening. Welcome back to Weather for Weather Geeks. We've got a lot of geeky stuff to look at this evening. Thankfully, the weather took a little bit of a breather today. Nothing more than a couple of stray showers this afternoon, and it was nice to put up a 0 officially at the Youngstown Warren Airport today after a few very unsettled days in a row, Sunday through Tuesday. Now, compared to some other areas around northeast Ohio and western PA, the numbers at the Youngstown Warren Airport are relatively modest in terms of rainfall so far in July. We stand at 2.67, and a little less than an inch above the average. Still above average, but not as far above average as some other places. Here's a look at the rainfall totals. This is not compared to average, but the actual totals across our region, and a few things stand out here, of course. The red colors, 5 inches or more, pretty common. Northern Trumbull County, western Trumbull County, also the western part of Columbiana County out towards New Franklin. But once you're over into eastern Columbiana County, closer to East Palestine, generally less than 2 inches worth of rain so far in the month of July. Mahoning County, somewhere in the middle. A few spots have been on the drier side, such as Ellsworth and Berlin, and over towards North Lima, but we've seen heavier amounts up towards Struthers and places around downtown Youngstown as well. Also, Mercer County has not been quite as wet as much of Trumbull County has been so far in the month of July. Temperature-wise, maybe a little bit surprising to some, but we're actually a degree below the average through the first 14 days of July, almost halfway through the month. And although we've had several days with highs in the middle and upper 80s, we've also had several days with highs in the 70s. And so, as a whole, it's been a little bit below the average when you factor in the highs and the lows. And speaking of highs versus lows, when we look at the summer season so far, so basically June 1st to now, and meteorological summer will be halfway over tomorrow, believe it or not. Through the first half of the summer, temperatures have been warmer than average, but it's the lows that are kind of leading the way here. The overnight lows have been quite warm, 3.3 degrees above average, compared to 1 degree above average for the daytime highs. And these warmer overnight lows, not surprising. In a warmer climate, an atmosphere that is capable of holding more water vapor means warmer nights, usually, as the elevated dew points prevent temperatures from falling as much during the nighttime hours. So we've seen an uptick in our overnight lows here locally over the last handful of decades, with an especially big jump over the last 10 years. And I went back and looked at the record books as far as dew points so far this summer. Here's a look at the June dew points, and what we're plotting up here is the number of hours in which the dew point was 65 or above in the month of June. And June of 2021, the most hours with dew points at or above 65 since this June back in the late 40s. We have not had a June that humid since the late 40s. So very impressive stuff for June. Now we're only halfway through July, but you can see already we've had 200 hours so far in July in which the dew point's been 65 or higher. And it's not going to take much longer to get above last year and above recent years as well. And when you look at the hourly data, already we've seen the average number of days in an entire month of July during the first half of the month. In other words, look at some of these early morning dew points. The averages, number of days per July, up around 8 days with dew points that high in the morning. We've already seen that many in the first 14 days of the month, and so we're not even totally halfway through the month, and already we've seen what is kind of a typical July for early morning dew points at or above 65. So yeah, it's been really, really muggy. All right, meteorological summer and the month of July halfway over tomorrow. Our averages are peaking at this time of the year. Average high is 83 on today's date and tomorrow's date. In fact, it stays 83 through like the 28th. And then at the very end of the month, it drops down to 82, starting the process that, of course, continues for the next several months. One bit of business before we move on. We still have a flood warning in effect for Eagle Creek near Braceville in southwestern Trumbull County. This spot is a flood-prone spot that frequently is above flood stage whenever we have bouts of heavy rain. It is receding. It was up over 10 feet earlier on today. Most recent observation at 6 p.m., 9.71 feet, and expected to drop below flood stage over the next handful of hours. All right, our break from the rain continues. A few showers and storms out to our east, and, more importantly, off to our west, where there's a severe weather outbreak ongoing this evening. In fact, a tornado outbreak in the state of Iowa. I've seen several pictures and video of confirmed tornadoes out here in the state of Iowa, and as of this recording, several active tornado warnings out there, and almost the entire state's under a tornado watch. Back here at home, I think it'll be a dry day tomorrow. I think there'll be some high-altitude wildfire smoke back in the mix after several days off from that. It comes back in tomorrow with a westerly flow aloft. Now, the model is trying to spin up a couple of showers late in the day, especially over Lake Erie. Not really buying that just yet. I think it's a little more likely in northwest Ohio, into Michigan and Indiana. I think we're dry through sunset tomorrow evening. Again, I think this is too aggressive on our model. But overnight tomorrow night, maybe there's a shower or a thunderstorm. All right, the all-important Friday and weekend forecast. Unfortunately, the trends have not been our friend when it comes to the upcoming weekend. On Friday, I don't think this is a washout Friday, but as we get into the afternoon and evening especially, I think there'll be a scattering of showers and storms. Any of these could be on the heavy side, and this front's really going to hit the brakes as low pressure forms along it. This thing's just going to kind of stall and very slowly meander east, which means we're probably fair game to see showers and storms at just about any time on Saturday. Is it a total washout? I doubt it. But we're going to allow for a pretty good chance of seeing at least one or two, if not 3 or 4 rounds of showers and storms. The flash flood risk tomorrow is centered from Chicago to St. Louis and back towards Kansas City. That low-end risk of flash flooding does edge eastward on Friday. Very moist environment, once again, efficient rain producers. Whatever showers and storms get going, second half of the day Friday, they can wring out quite a bit of moisture in a short amount of time. So here's what we've done with the daily rain chances for the next several days. Ramping up Thursday night, especially into Friday, Friday night, and Saturday. You'll notice we have a low-end chance in Sunday's forecast. If you have outdoor plans this weekend, keep checking the forecast next couple of days as we get new information. Of course, we'll keep updating things, but as it stands right now, I think Saturday will be the wetter half of the weekend. By Sunday, it may be very stray activity and more focused in our southern viewing areas. That front very slowly edges to the south and east. Best chance of a lingering shower or storm Sunday might be in places like Newcastle and East Liverpool and places like that. The farther north you are, I suspect the drier Sunday will be across our area. We are going to get a break from the dew points, at least a modest break next week. This very moisture-laden air mass, again, here until this front edges eastward as we go into the second half of the weekend and early next week. So the yellows and reds kind of start fading away here when we look at the atmospheric moisture through the entire column of the atmosphere. And that relative break from the muggy air will last a few days, probably through midweek. By the tail end of next week, dew points will probably start coming back up as we get into a pretty steamy, not overly hot, but pretty steamy pattern at the end of next week into the following weekend. I've been asked a few times, what do you think about 90-degree temperatures for the summer season? Our average is about 8. At the beginning of summer, I predicted between 10 and 12. I think that was probably too, I don't want to say optimistic, but maybe too high with my estimate, because we've only seen a few, and I don't see the kind of real hot weather pattern coming our way anytime soon that will give us a bunch of 90-degree days. Now, that may change. There's a lot of summer left. But through maybe the first week or so of August, it does not look like a particularly hot pattern. The pattern just wants to stay in this general configuration with a ridge out west, northwest flow downstream of that, and that prevents the heat from building across the Great Lakes. That may change later in August, into September even, but for the next few weeks I don't see much in the way of prolonged changes to that pattern, and that will prevent a string of 90-degree days around here. That's the way it looks right now anyway. In the meantime, thank you for watching Weather for Weather Geeks tonight. I'll see you back here on Thursday.